Hello, Leaguers, and welcome to today's Practical Wednesday webinar, the place where product managers join forces together to talk about the practical stuff, the things that matter for our day-to-day, the things that we care about, the things that you care about. And today, apparently, you care about ChatGPT for product managers because we all do. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to discuss this matter together. We are going to learn a few tricks, so many tips, and we are going to have a very interactive session together. My name is Moriya Kassis. I'm the founder and general manager of Product League, and with Product League, we help you to become the best product manager you can be. Product League is an international mentoring program for product managers by product managers, and this is what we do. The whole league, this is what we do. We literally support you in becoming the best product manager you can be with the most reliable, valuable, and actionable content on the web for product managers. And I'm just so happy to have you joining me here on this stage today. So thank you very much. This, as I said, is going to be a very practical session. So get ready, because I need you as my little helpers today. I need you to interact with me. I need you to share your concerns with me. I need you to tell me where you're from. Hello, Sven. Hello, good evening from Copenhagen. We have Elio joining us from Alexandria. We have so many of you guys. Nitesh, hello. So many of you guys joining us here today on Facebook, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn to talk about ChatGPT for product managers, to chat about ChatGPT for product managers, if you will. And it's going to be a great time. It's going to be our product party. Now, I hope that you're ready, because we are just about to start. But before we do so, I have a small request to ask you. You know how algorithm works? So please click the like button wherever it is that you watch us right now. Show YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn that you actually enjoy being here with us in this product ChatGPT party. So please go ahead and hit the like button. Thank you so much for joining us. And we are just about to start, and we do it right now. So here is the thing. ChatGPT for product managers is an actual thing, an important thing for us to discuss for so many reasons. And we are going to break this subject matter into 4 categories. Now, I want to remove this one first, please, because I don't know why it's on the page. So let's take it this way. Apologies for this. Okay, so we're going to break it down into 4 steps in our discussion. First, we're going to discuss how it works. And here is why. It's so easy to use buzzwords and kind of name dropping new technologies without actually understanding what it is. And without understanding how something works, we can't understand how to utilize it best for our needs. So we're going to start with that. Then we're going to talk about the common usage, the things that everyone is now talking about. And then we're going to dive deeper. Now, it's going to be very practical, as I said. So we even have some prompts ready for you guys to copy and to use tomorrow at work. So please get ready to get practical. So we have all of that for you. And then we're going to take it even further, talking about specific challenges and giving you some tips on how to overcome that, especially for product managers using chatbots and ChatGPT overall. And we take it even further, because we saw that so many of you guys are interested in this topic. So we created an ebook for you. So in the ebook, you'll find all these prompts and codes that talked about earlier. You're going to find all the tricks that I'm going to mention. You're going to find everything we are going to discuss today. And why is that? Because we want you to focus on the interaction, right? You don't need to take any notes right now. You're welcome to do so, but you don't have to, okay? You can focus on the interaction. Later on, you're going to have both the recording and the ebook. We're going to provide you with the link to download it, so you'll have your own copy of the ebook with all the secrets that you need. I promise you, this is going to be a really, really interesting one. Now, I have a question to ask you guys. And please, go ahead And in the chat, let me know your thoughts. Do you believe that AI will replace product managers? This is a very critical discussion point here today, not just for the sake of it, but we are going to dive deeper into this question and suggest a theory around it with some data, very good reasoning. But before we do so, I need your answers. So exactly what you're doing right now, guys. Let me know what you think, and also let me know why you think this way. Okay, I want to hear your opinions. I'm eager to learn how you guys think. And now we're continuing to the next slide. So we start with how does it work? As I said, we're going to dive deeper. And when we talk about ChatGPT or other LLMs, large language models, we need to first understand the product manager toolbox. When we think about the way we process information or data, we basically have three tools to use. First, may say my favorite, is the human brain. It's you, it's me, it's everyone out there, it's the whole league, okay? We all have human brain, and this is the first way for us to process what we see or what we read or what we hear. This is the first engine that we use. Then, with the web came different kinds of search engines. Okay, how does it work? There are web pages all around the internet, and then we use keywords to specify specific things that we search within the internet, and the search engine brings us back some options. And now we can finally talk about LLMs. These are models that are trained to find patterns and to translate these patterns into text using artificial intelligence. ChatGPT is just one of these options. There are varied options in the market. Some of you don't even know about, cool ones. And then when we understand this ecosystem, we can dive deeper into the differences. Again, let me know in the chat, please, guys. I'm truly eager to learn from you. When do you think, if you try to reverse engineer your own thinking and behavior, when do you use your own brain? When do you use search engines? And when do you go to use LLMs or ChatGPT included or others? Okay. Now, when we need to figure out the differences between these three to better understand the concept of LLMs, we need to understand what each one of these tools is based on. If we start to talk about the human brain, so the way that we process data and information is using learning. It's using the input that we receive and then using our own sensors to deal with that. It's about emotional and social factors. In a way, it's how society trained us and trained our brain to perceive things in different ways. So this is about the human brain. If we talk about search engines, as we just said, it's about the internet, right? Everything that your search engine brings to you as results comes from the wild wide web. And when we talk about large language models, about LLMs, we need to understand, and this is crucial, that it's all based on the specific data that this engine was trained on. ChatGPT cannot know data that it was not trained on, even if it's on the internet. You see the difference between LLMs and search engines? And of course, the things that are not on the internet, but we can feel them or we can censor them, those are not available for neither LLMs or search engines. This is where your human brain is so valuable. So this is about what it's based on. Now, let's take the discussion even further. We said that these engines, these tools, are trained for something. So what is it trained for? Our human brain, you, me, everybody, trained to have our own interpretation of situations, of senses. We are trained to see and capture situations with body language, with behavior, and to figure out something about the situation. This is what we're trained for. Search engines are trained to provide you and me with a list of relevant web pages following specific keywords that we used. This is why the way that you use keywords in search engines matters so much. And when we talk about LLMs, when we talk about ChatGPT and others, what it's trained for is to give you human-like responses to text. Remember, LLMs are for text. They are based on language. They are trained to deal with language on both ways. Both the input and the output on ChatGPT and other LLMs will be of languages, of text. So we see that you, me, and everyone else can sense things that cannot be put into words or numbers. Search engines can process both numbers and text as long as it's on the web. And LLMs are trained for both input and output of text that try as much as possible to be human-like. This is what it's trained for. Now it becomes really interesting because we need to discuss the limitations. We understand what is the knowledge base of each of these engines. We understand the limitations. We understand how it works. I'm sorry, what is a trend for? But now we need to understand the limitations. Based on what we just discussed, we know that the human brain has the limitations of biases, speed, right? How many times okay, I cannot process things fast enough even though I want to. Sometimes we forget things for different reasons. And sometimes we even feel like our head is too full. We can't put anything else to it, right? Capacity. So these are our human limitations. When we discuss search engines, well, what if context-wise, the way I phrased and the keywords that I used were not that clear to the search engine? Language is a big barrier when we discuss search engines. Also, there is some lack of personalization in the output that we receive from search engines. And of course, there is indexing and so many things. We try to see the different limitations of each of these engines, each of these tools. And when we get to LLMs, we see that the limitations are different because all of a sudden, this tool was trained on specific data. So this tool does not have any understanding of the real world outside, except for what it was trained on. Because first, it cannot sense things like you and I. And also, it was not trained on the internet. So even common knowledge that you can find on the internet is not known to LLMs, ChatGPT, if it was not trained on. How about understanding of this specific context? If you try to generate human-like responses, but you're not human, well, that's going to be a little hard. If you try to phrase things in different ways with ChatGPT, you can easily see how sensitive it is to the way you do so. Why? Because in search engines, it's about the keywords. So as long as you use keywords that are recognizable, that's okay. But in LLMs, the model is trying to think like you and me. They try to mimic the way that we operate. So it is so sensitive to the way that we phrase things. We start to see the different aspects, the different ways that each of these tools differ from one each other. And this brings us down to this knowledge breakdown where we can actually see the differences. And I want you guys to keep in mind these differences between the human brain and LLMs, because whenever you think, shall I save myself some time and use ChatGPT to do what I am about to do? You need to think to yourself, is this the right tool in my toolbox as a product manager? Because you cannot be certain that this is the right one. If to go back to the when to use ChatGPT or other LLMs, you have to keep in mind three big and important questions. What about the data? Do you have data set to train your model with? Because if you have some data to share with the LLM, you already set yourself to much more success with it. Then you need to think whether you are interested in the patterns. LLMs, because they are trained to find patterns within language, within text, are not trained to find reasoning. They are trained to find patterns. When we talk about patterns, we need to remember that patterns most likely are to be found within the long tail. It's not about the niche answer. There are some LLMs out there that are about the niche, but even then, they won't find you the answer. They will highlight specific parts in the text for you with your human brain to analyze. But when we talk about the regular LLMs that are available, we have to make sure that the answer, the output that we are looking for, is one that can be recognized with patterns. And keep in mind that it's about having a human-like response. If you're not interested in something that sounds like a human and mimic a human, well, ChatGPT is not your answer. But if it's about human-like response, you do have the right data to train your model with, and it's about patterns. This is where the magic happens. This is where LLMs are the right choice for you. And this is where I advise you to use ChatGPT. So if we go back to the question that I asked you before, will AI replace product managers? And I would love to see more of your comments, guys, in the chat. So please go ahead. if we are to be back to answer this question, we need to remember these certain parts of our work as product managers that have nothing to do with the special characters of AI. Some of the things that you and me do every day at work, both on the soft skill aspect of product management and both on the hard skills of product management, have nothing to do with patterns, are all about the head and not about the long tail, all about the niche choices, the niche options. Okay, sometimes there is no data for us to train the model around, because we do something that is so unique, so different, so new. And also, some things just have to stay human. So going back to the question, this is why, in my honest and humble opinion, AI won't ever fully replace product managers. Okay, so thank you everyone who shared their opinions about this matter in the chat. It's actually very, very interesting to see it. And if we go back, for example, to a poll that we ran just yesterday on our LinkedIn group, okay, so what is the biggest misconception product managers have about ChatGPT? All the answers here are correct. ChatGPT won't replace or fully replace human product managers. ChatGPT cannot provide market research, because guess what? Big part of market research is about information that may not be out there. Okay? It's also about the critical decisions that you and me make every day that have nothing to do with patterns. And when we talk about user requirements, it's about the product sense that only a human can bring to the table. And this is why I don't think that we will see AI replace us anytime soon. Okay, so this is a big, big nope for that. And now, after we understood the differences between the different tools that we have in our toolbox as product managers, now we need to talk about common usage. Most probably that you heard that so many companies out there are now using ChatGPT for customer support, user experience, everything that is around chats. And even if you'll ask ChatGPT, what can be done with this tool to use it as part of your customer support offering to improve user experience, this is the long answer that it will provide you. So the most obvious one is customer support. Without having someone sitting on a desk, you can make sure that there is a bot, a chat. I'm sorry, it's not a bot, it's a chat that gives the customer the answers they need 24/7. It's about knowledge bases that provide the customers with the answers that they need based, you guessed it right, on your existing knowledge base at the company, because this is what you train it about or with. You can personalize recommendations based on user preferences, because you can break down user needs. Remember, you have everything in the ebook. Don't get scared, because we're getting deeper and deeper. And it also offers you, as it is based on language, to provide support in different languages, in all languages actually. Okay? What do you need to do in order to do so? There are 6 steps. First one is for you to gather the relevant data. This is where you trained ChatGPT based on your own company knowledge. You collect everything, and I mean everything. Then you have to pre-process it and anonymize that. Remove everything that has to do with critical data of users and customers You don't want to go there. Please remember this step. You need to format this data in a way that would be easier for ChatGPT to analyze. Try to think about human-like in it. Okay, remember, we said that ChatGPT is all about human-like responses, both in the input and the output. So, how do you make it to be conversation-like? How do you make your data, your process of formatting it to be more of question and answer like, human like? Then it's about the specific of your products. It's somewhat similar to the first stage where you gathered all the relevant data. Here it's about the relevant information, the little things or the big things about your users, about the customers, about the business, about the industry that ChatGPT needs to know in order to provide a better answer. And then it's about iteration and iteration, because you need to train ChatGPT based on the information and the data that you shared with it. So this is how you start with it. And I see that Inbal has a wonderful question here in the chat. Hello, Inbal, our mentor, product league mentor. Inbal, what do you mean by train GPT? To paste all the information the organization has and then get output based on questions user will ask? So somewhat like that, yes. First of all, you don't need to kind of like import any files like in different engines that we all know or tools. You need to simply paste your information to it. Okay, this is how you do it. I'll even show you something. Okay, where is it? I want to show you something, because if Inbal asked for a tip, I want. Okay, so it's coming. Sorry. Okay, so you need to paste it in. But the thing is, Inbal and others, is that you make sure that you take off first all the information that you don't want to share with it, because it is there. Okay, so you clean it in a way, and you clean from factors that you don't care about, and you think about it as if you were to train, again, a human, taking all the noise out of it. If it doesn't have to do with the answers that it is to provide, then you take it out, you format it, and simply, as you said, paste it in. And we're going to see examples just for that. So stay here with me. And Natalie is here saying, warning, all information you insert to ChatGPT is going to the training of the model. Don't use proprietary and private data. Absolutely. Clean all the data that you put in and you don't want to share, especially about your users and customers. And this is why we have this note here, okay, for you guys to make sure that you use ChatGPT in the ethical way. It's about removing all the information that you don't want to share. It's about making sure that customers and users actually know that they talk with an AI chat and not with a human person. It's about having product culture that is also about measuring AI done the right way. Let's go this way. Okay, it's about not just the ethics of the companies anymore. It's also about the ethics of the tools that we use. So within your product management culture in the company, once you start using ChatGPT or other LLMs, it's also about checking that. Did we make sure that we remove everything that we need? How clear was it to our users and customers that they were chatting with ChatGPT? Super important, super critical. Thank you to anyone who shared this with us in the chat. And now I have a question to ask you guys. Another question. I hope you like my questions. Would you use ChatGPT for user stories? Let me know in the comment section, wherever it is that you watch right now, okay? Because I truly want to learn from you and the way that you think, and I am now going to share my thoughts with you guys. No, do not use ChatGPT in my own recommendation for user stories, because this is where your product sense is so valuable. When you create user stories the right way, this is exactly why you were hired. This is where your product sense, the real you, comes to the picture. So you don't want to use an alternative to do so, even though sometimes there are so many tasks for you to do, and 24 hours a day is not enough. I feel you, I'm there with you. But no, don't do that. However, what I can recommend you guys to do is to use ChatGPT for user story prioritization. And now we're going to dive deeper. So here is a prompt for you guys to see. As a product manager, I need to assess the value, effort, and impact of scenario-based user story. Can you please ask me several questions to guide my evaluation? And then what you do, you simply say, this is my scenario. This is a specific scenario I write my user story for, and this is the text for it. Now, ChatGPT knows that this is a scenario you based the user story on, goes back to your question and ask you questions that will evaluate user stories, helping you to prioritize your user stories in a better way. So you don't replace your product sense, your human product sense, with ChatGPT, but you do use ChatGPT for the evaluation of the weight, for the prioritization of the user stories once you gather those. Now I see that there are many comments and so many thoughts about this subject. Okay, so Sven here says, yes, of course, LLMs can write great user stories, but use it just like a spelling control and get help on prioritization. The PM is the human editor. I love that. I do, however, want to highlight a word, is Sven, in what you said. It's about editing it. It's not about writing it. So absolutely, for editing it, go ahead, do so. But make sure that it's not all comes from there. Hello, Tanzel, our mentee. Very happy to see you here with us today. Not for user stories, and AI cannot know the team's know-how exactly or the jargon in the company. And usually, ChatGPT responds very worldly explanations. Yes, I love that. So happy to see you here with us, and so happy to see the answers that you provide us. And Omar here says you might consider enriching your user story with input you are missing. Not enough marketing info, not enough time, etc. Exactly right. Thank you, guys. Exactly. Don't find ways to replace your human work with ChatGPT. Instead, find ways to receive some support from ChatGPT to make your work better, not to replace your work. Thank you, guys, for everything that you share. Now it's not about the common stuff that everyone uses. Now it's about the tricky stuff, the interesting stuff. It's about ideation. It's about feedback. It's about feature prioritization. And I hope that you guys are ready for it. So we start with the first prompt. The first prompt is about feedback survey results. But before we dive into the scenario, what I want to share with you guys and what I want to highlight is for you guys to see that the way we structure the prompt is to first share some information with ChatGPT. Remember, ChatGPT is only trained based on the information that you are training it on, based on what the model was trained on, right? So the model, ChatGPT, does not know you, does not know the company. Most probably don't know anything about the domain in terms of the unique stuff that you know as a product manager within this domain. So you share with them first, hey, I am a product manager. Why? Because you want an answer that is tailored for a product manager, not to the CFO of the company, right? You don't want for ChatGPT to just assume that you are an engineer, an accountant, or whatever. You want ChatGPT to know that you are a product manager and to tailor the answer towards it. Then you share a little bit about your product, just enough for ChatGPT to understand what is it that you do. So, for example, I will share that Product League is a mentoring program for product managers. In some cases, I will add that this is for product managers by product managers, depends on the context, but just enough for ChatGPT to understand within relation, within context to what we are talking about. Then, special tip for you guys, talk about geography. Not always, but in most cases, the geography where your users or customers are from has much effect on the questions and the answers that you will receive, right? It's about the culture, it's about the dynamic, it's about the time zone, it's about so many things. So take a second and think to yourself, wait a second, is that something that I need to share with ChatGPT? And if it is, go ahead and do so. And don't stop there. If there is anything extra that you think that is critical for ChatGPT to understand about you or about your role, depends on the question you're asking, or about the product, go ahead and mention it. And now I have a small request to ask you guys. Please let me know in the chat, okay, what is the way that you will structure a prompt like this one about your company, about your product. So as a product manager or another title for whatever your product is, how would you describe it? Okay, what domain, what geography? Okay, let us know in the chat. And then you continue with, I have received user feedback survey results and need help collecting and summarizing the feedback. Then call to action. Guys, we're product managers. It's always about the call to action. Can you assist me in analyzing the survey data and summarizing the key results? It's not just about analyzing. It's not just about summarizing. You specify exactly what is it that you want from ChatGPT and you let them know. And then going back to the previous question, you say, this is my survey, these are my survey results, and you attach them there with words. Okay, remember, ChatGPT is language model, so use your words. How do we know what information is critical? Any best practices on the right context? This is a beautiful question, Elio. Thank you very much for that. Well, as a product manager, I have to say it depends, but it really depends. So think about the specific elements that differ, for example, between you and your competitor. Okay, it may be that, okay, let's take Product Lake as an example. Maybe there is none, but maybe there is the dev league out there, okay, developers league out there that may say that it's the same thing as Product League, but it's for developers. So for example, here the niche, the specific domain is really important. Geography, okay, the fact that we operate in 30 countries is actually a big deal in the way that we operate, and it affects much of the way that we look at the information. It's also about the characters of the users and customers. So for example, to join Product League as a mentee, you have to have at least 2 years of experience as product managers. And as a mentor, you have to have at least 7 years of experience. So when we use ChatGPT for things that are about the special characters of our users base, we do mention that it's not for aspiring product managers, because this is one of the things that affect the way we operate, the decisions that we make, the way we analyze our data, because our customer base is specific. So unfortunately, I cannot give you a specific key to think about. You are more than welcome to share a little bit of information, and then I can help very gladly. But it really is depends. Try to think about the special things about your business and then go ahead with it. And I see that there is wonderful discussion here with special tips to everyone here. So this is great. And yes, I see Faisal here saying position and geography. Exactly right. And so many things are so important here in the chat. It's lovely to see what happens here. So now we are continuing with another prompt. Okay. Here we are still with the survey results. But what I want you guys to keep in mind is that you can also use ChatGPT to weigh the insights and to have a better processing of impact or signification, how significant it is for you. Then you can ask ChatGPT to provide you with canned answers, responses for you to use in cases that this is what the customer or the user complaining about, talking with you about, asking for. So it's not just about the customer support, it's also about the user experience. Keep in mind that we said that one of the advantages of using ChatGPT for support, for example, is the fact that you can have someone offering solutions and answers 24/7. So now when you have canned answers based on the survey, this is where you can use ChatGPT. Interesting? I think so. And then you dive even deeper with analyzing the feedback, because then you ask ChatGPT to use the fact that it is trained to find patterns in the languages, in words, in text, to find patterns or trends in the customer responses. You can now find common issues. You can now find requests. Now, it will never replace your work as a product manager with deciding whether this feature request should go into the backlog or should actually be prioritized to be the first thing we do tomorrow morning. But it allows you to better analyze these text-based responses, the feedback, with better ease. It's also about asking ChatGPT, knowing that it is a model that is trained to deal with large volumes of text, for its own tip and trick on how to analyze large volumes of customer feedback data. Now, you don't want to keep it general. You want to make sure that you get into the specifics, because again, it's only about the data and information that you share with ChatGPT. So you share this feedback with ChatGPT for it to see what is it about, and you ask it, how should I categorize it? What are the best way to analyze this large volume of customer feedback. Ashel here is with a question. Do you recommend writing the survey questions with the chat? I love this question, Ashel. I love this. Okay. Here's what I recommend. Don't start writing the survey questions with the chat. Have it within, like a brainstorming session with the team or just by yourself, depends on the team size. You start with something, then you put it aside. Then you go to ChatGPT and ask, hey, I'm the product manager in such company, in this domain, for this product, in this geography, and I would like to write survey questions to ask my customers or users, depends on the segment. What will be your suggestion? Then compare what you have. So first, you can use ChatGPT for some ideation for questions. You can also use it for best practices, like literally ask it, what are the best practices to use when I run such a feedback request? So you use it for ideation. Then, after you gathered a better understanding of the questions that you want to ask, you can use it for the wording choices. You can use it to ask about different variations within that. But in my honest opinion, don't ever start with ChatGPT, because you have to first challenge yourself with your own product thinking on how to do things, and then to use ChatGPT as support. But I love this question, so thank you very much. Here is another trick. Let's say that you want to know not what is it that your customers are asking for, what the customers of your competitors are asking for or complaining about. Here is where you can ask ChatGPT on its instruction on how to scrap App Store reviews. Literally ask it, use this prompt, okay, step by step. Then after you scraped it, paste in all these reviews as text, and then give ChatGPT the prompt, find the 3 most common complaints and the top 2 feature requests. So all of a sudden, it's not just about the information that you have within your company, it's also about the things that your competitors don't want you to have. And of course, you can also run it on your own reviews on the app stores, right? Or on forums or stuff like that. It's just that ChatGPT allows you to become so insightful in different ways. So try to think about different and somewhat tricky ways to use information. It is out there, it is available to you, but it may be that you did not think about it until now. There is a question here from Prashant asking, can we share data in Excel or Tableau format with ChatGPT and it can interpret the results for us? No, you need words. It's like simply copy, paste words. It can be in a table, it can be in rows, it can be with blurbs, whatever works for the text. It's about the right structure for the text, but it's always about words. Faisal here is asking, will it be possible to use ChatGPT for personal usage, such as developing our resume? Yes. And should we train before or just ask ChatGPT for help? You start, I'm consistent with my replies here. You start with your own resume. Then you ask ChatGPT for the best practices within this domain. So you can, for example, ask, what are the requirements? What is it that companies are looking for candidates for product management director with 7 years of experience within the fintech domain in Delhi. Okay, and of course you dive deeper and deeper, but you ask it to do so. You can paste, for example, information that is out there from different job boards. You can ask ChatGPT to tell you what are the requirements. You can paste in requirements and job openings and to let you know of the specific wordings that companies use in their openings in a way that you can then integrate into your own resume. After you did so with, again, using the CV that you had before, so you kind of like hybrid both your own knowledge and ChatGPT into one, you create this hybrid CV, then you can ask ChatGPT for its feedback. Don't even ask it to analyze it, okay, or to edit it yet. No, ask it to analyze it, okay? What is the persona that you can recognize in this CV? See if there is a match. Once you receive your answer and the answer is one that you are happy with, then you can ask it to sharpen your wording. You can also ask it to make it shorter if, for example, it's too long. Okay, so use it in ways like that, and always keep in mind your human brain and make sure that the answers that ChatGPT provides you with are good for what you're looking for. I hope that I provided you with good tips. Let me know in the chat. Thank you very much. Okay, so now it becomes even more interesting, guys, and keep the questions coming because you have great questions. Okay, now it's about finding the gaps between your human brain and ChatGPT and filling it in with value. Okay, so this is what we're going to do right now. Now the prompts are about your specific role, and for example, about the questions that you think that someone will challenge you with. Now, why is this a task that ChatGPT can handle? Because if we're discussing a specific meeting, for example, or presentation, you know what is the information that you're going to share in this meeting. You can take this information. First, of course, share the specific of your title and the company and the domain, etc. Okay. Share this document or information that you will share in the meeting. In this example here, it says SWOT analysis. And then tell ChatGPT to challenge you with the questions, human-like responses, right? This is what ChatGPT is trained for, that can be asked on this specific information. Going back to your question from before about a CV, you can also ask ChatGPT to challenge your own CV with questions. So let's say that you are the interviewing manager, right? You're the hiring manager and you're about to interview me. What questions will you ask me based on my CV? So here it's the same thing. You are about to go to a meeting. You specify who is the person who's going to challenge you there with questions, one or maybe more, and then the questions will be tailored to it. Okay? Nice. I love to see all your comments here, guys, in the chat. And I'm so happy, Faisal. And good luck with your job hunting. Now, it's about strategy. Let's say that you're a CPO for whatever product, in whatever domain, in a specific geography. Here is my strategy. Strategy should be focused on words, right? On text. This is my strategy. These are my factors. These are the factors that I included in the strategy. Now tell me, what is it that I am too optimistic about? And here it becomes even more interesting. Ask ChatGPT, like literally, ask ChatGPT for the reasoning. Ask ChatGPT to let you know what is it about the way it measures the different aspects that you ask for that got ChatGPT to have this conclusion. Why? First, it allows you to validate ChatGPT and how it works, right? But also it allows you to have some critical thinking, and again, finding the gap between your human brain and the LLM brain or model, and fill it within with much know-how. Whenever it is about critical decisions and usage of ChatGPT, I will highly recommend you guys to challenge ChatGPT for the reasoning. And if you see a gap in the reasoning, this is exactly where you need to retrain ChatGPT with more information, or just saying, okay, this is not a task for an LLM. This is where my human brain is needed. But go ahead and try so, guys. Another one. As a chief product officer for whatever company, now what macro events can reverse the outcomes of my strategy? Assuming the ChatGPT knows much of the events that happened until specific date in the world, the macro events, those that everyone knows about, what things can happen again and change my whole thinking and assumptions as, for example, my product strategy. For example, I think you are all there with me. What happens if COVID hits again? So because this one is a tricky one, it's critical to ask again ChatGPT for the reasoning and provide examples. So you make sure that first it makes sense, but also that it does not base its answer on information that is not correct. But then you see how information that is somewhat available to everyone and ChatGPT was trained on is relevant for you in finding gaps and holes. So along this webinar here today, we shared some extra tips, some extra tricks, okay, with you guys in the audience. So let's see them again, okay, one by one. Attach your real data. ChatGPT cannot provide you with answers to what doesn't know. So make sure it knows the things that matter to you. Then ask it for the reasoning behind the decision, the examples, the solutions they provide you with, okay? Why? It also helps you with challenging your own product mind. Things that may seem obvious to you are not obvious at all, okay? So who you are, where you're from, where you work, the little things about it that make your questions so unique and special, make sure to mention them. And then when you want to make sure that ChatGPT understands the context of your request, mention your responsibilities. Why? Because product management, for example, is too vague of a term, right? Product manager in one company differ from product manager in another company. So using this as an opportunity to share more information about what is it that you do, this is where you train it. And here is again about the responsible usage. I want to mention it again. Guys, please make sure that you don't share any information that is proprietary, any information about your users' user-based, about customers, anything you like, because it will stay there. Now, guys, I hope that you're ready because I promised you something. But before I do so, before I share the ebook with you guys, I want to have a little request of you. So the thing about ChatGPT is that whenever it does not have the information that it needs to provide you with the best answer, it just comes up with information. Yeah, this is the thing about ChatGPT, and you should know it. And a sign of the tip that guys always ask for the reasoning to make sure that there is no foolish assumption on ChatGPT's side. And aside of providing the information and the data, I think that there is also a case for us product managers to learn here from ChatGPT. We should always keep in mind that we have this gift of the human brain, and we're not a dumb MLM, right? So when we don't have the answer, we just say, I don't have the answer. And this is part of what makes us product managers so unique and valuable in our industry. We are not just an LLM. We cannot be trained. We train ourselves to become the best product managers we can be, the most amazing human beings that we can be. And it's okay not to have all the answers. So, not like ChatGPT. Whenever we don't have the answer, it's more than okay to just say so. Now, guys, I promised you that we're going to share an ebook with you. So in the chat right now, the team is going to share the link for you guys to download your own copy of the book. And you can also find it on our website. Simply go under ebooks, click on ChatGPT for product managers, scroll, leave your email address there, and then it will be delivered to your inbox within a matter of seconds. So this is where you find the ebook. You'll find everything that we mentioned today there. And you'll also find on our website that applications for our summer 2023 are now open. So batch summer 2023 is just around the corner. If you're interested in becoming a mentee or a mentor on our program, just go ahead, click the apply button. I'm looking forward to continuing this product party with you in our program. As always, we are here to support you in any way we can. We truly want you to become the best product manager you can be. And we keep on providing you with awesome content just like this one. So like us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever it is that you hang out, and also here on this platform where you are right now. So you'll be notified on our next events, webinars, just like this one. I see that there is thriving, amazing discussion all over the chat here. So this is just wonderful. I'm going to join this discussion after the webinar will be closed to continue it with you. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and submit them there. I would love to give you all the answers that you guys need. And I love to see the comments here from Bridget. Yes, saying I don't know is so important in building trust and collaboration. I think this is one of the most beautiful things for us to remember from this webinar. I hope that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much. Thank you guys, leaguers, for joining here today. I had such a great time to have you in our audience. Keep on asking us questions. Keep on asking us for the things that you like, for the content that you want. We are here for you. And until the next time that we're going to league up on this stage, have a wonderful day. And I can't wait to see you again on our next webinar. Bye-bye, leaguers.